The most two-wheeled fun you can get for your money. Many of today's riders are discovering the daily comfort and riding ease that comes from bikes with tinier engines and tidier dimensions. Here are some of the latest bikes, big and small, that provide serious bang for your buck right now. 2017 Honda Rebel 300/500. Base price, $4,399. Honda doesn't remake the smallest, least potent models in its lineup very often. Its mini cruiser for novice riders, the Rebel 250, has been in production since 1985. It was ancient mechanically and stylistically, but for 2017 Honda has finally remade the Rebel. These bikes are minimalist according to Honda. To us, they look clean, cool, and way more expensive than the price suggests. Its modern take on the notion of an entry-level motorcycle, one that might appeal to more than those just shopping for a starter bike. The stance and riding position of this bike is still in the cruiser camp, but Honda engineers built in a lean angle that will let you chase sportier standard bikes in the canyons. This time around there's a modest 300, which uses a 286cc single-cylinder engine as well as a 500 using a stronger 471cc parallel twin that costs $1,600 more. And throw in another $300 on either bike and you can have ABS brakes too. 2017 Yamaha 950 Rupees. Base price, $8,700. It's no secret we have a weakness for retro-styled bikes, and the new Yamaha 950 Rupees hits all the right notes. Just check out the sweet vintage lace wheels and old-school number plates. The SCR looks like something that would roll right out of Steve McQueen's garage in the 1970s. The new on-off-road scrambler-style machine is based on the bones of the Yamaha Bolt Cruiser, including its 942cc air-cooled twin. But the transformation to SCR was accomplished by adding a taller suspension and handlebars for a comfier riding position. Of course, with relatively modest underpinnings, the SCR won't keep up with the more focused bikes dedicated to dirt sports or backroad hustling. But with an easy riding personality, classic style, and an estimated 51 mpg, the SCR is a bike that looks like a weekend toy but makes for an excellent daily rider. 2017 Suzuki Vanneman 200. Base price, $4,600. The original Vanneman dates all the way back to the early 1970s, and a reborn version has been sold overseas for several years. But this year we get a chance to swing a leg over this affordable little tyke. Don't expect much power, there's just a 199cc single-cylinder thumping away and backed by a 5-speed. But because it weighs just 282 pounds, it should be plenty nimble and quite a bit of fun to ride around town. The Vanneman is built for comfort with a thick, wide seat and upright controls. So here would be a great first bike for someone that doesn't want to spend a lot on their new hobby. The skinny fuel tank helps keep this machine's proportions tidy, but with only 1.7 gallons on board, don't expect to road trip this bike without lots of pit stops. 2017 Triumph Street Cup. Base price, $10,500. Triumph has long proven that expensive bikes and classic style don't have to go hand in hand. Last year the company completely redesigned and modernized the Bonneville lineup with several engine sizes and power outputs. The new Street Cup, based on that Bon, is like a smaller, cheaper, and friendlier Thruxton. The Cup uses the mildly tuned 900cc version of the parallel twin engine, but engineers included a throatier exhaust system. The Street Cup was designed to look like a faithful recreation of a classic cafe racer, and it works. The rider sits low and forward on this bike, thanks to the low handlebars, and hides behind a small fly screen. But the Triumph crew made some special adjustments to the Bon's chassis to sharpen its handling, including a unique suspension. And don't let looks fool you. The Cup might look vintage, but Triumph has loaded it with modern tech like throttle-by-wire and ABS. 2017 Honda CBR 500R. Base price, $6,500. Honda's middleweight sport bike, The CBR 500R is one of those rare bikes with wide appeal. It's a great machine for first-time riders as well as seasoned enthusiasts that appreciate the nimble size, low price, and solid handling. The 471cc's parallel twin is smooth and torquey and happy to rev, and the suspension is very comfortable and compliant, whether around town or in the canyons. The CBR 500R benefited from some substantial changes last year, including a revised suspension, new styling, and both a new exhaust and intake. Translation: it looks and sounds even better than before. But what hasn't changed is its status as a gateway to sport bike culture. 2017 Kawasaki Z125 Pro. Base price, $3,000. Honda broke new ground with its Gra mini bike back in 2014. It was cute, fun, and quickly became a cult hit. The bike was such a success, Kawasaki wanted a slice of that 125cc's single-cylinder pie. The new Z125 Pro is ultra-compact and light, 225 pounds, plus it undercuts that Honda in price. In fact, it's the only bike on our list that dips below $3,000. The low 31.7-inch seat height means it's an easy machine for riders with nearly any stature. The Z125 certainly looks aggressive and has a sport-style suspension that should make it a blast around town. Of course, if you need to hit the freeway, this little Kawi won't cut it. But it's so small and inexpensive, we could see owning one and parking it right next to a full-size bike as a spunky little errand hopper. Best of all, the Z125 should return close to 100 mpg. Ducati Super Sport. Base price, $13,000. Modern sport bikes have the technology, power, and sharp handling to seamlessly make the transition from road to track. But isn't there room for a sport bike that's just a little more comfortable? Apparently so. Ducati has created a sport bike that's friendly to ride every day. The riding position is more upright, so less of your body weight is focused down on your wrists. Still, this is still a beastly quick machine thanks to his 937cc's liquid-cooled L-twin that puts down 113 horsepower way up at 9,000 RPMs. And with just 463 pounds to pull around, it certainly won't be lacking when the road twists. The Super Sport comes standard with a system that dials in specific riding and power modes, not unlike a modern high-performance sports sedan, and includes traction and ABS. And since it's a Ducati, the Super Sport is one good-looking bike. For those that need a little more, the Super Sport S model, $14,795, adds high-performance suspension and clutchless shifting. 2017 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. Base price, $19,000. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide costs some money, that is without debate. The company's biggest bikes always do. But here's the thing, the new Glide is the least expensive bike Harley-Davidson offers with its massive, all-new 107 cubic inch, 1753cc's, Milwaukee 8V twin. It's not often that Harley completely redesigns its engines, and this one is significant because it has to carry the company into the future, tackling stricter emissions and noise regulations. Harley says the new motor delivers more torque, 10%, thanks to the 4-valve heads and a bump in compression. Harley also worked to reduce vibration and heat while also improving fuel economy. But the new engine isn't the only news here. Harley has redesigned the suspension of the Glide to ride and handle better while also improving the range and ease of adjustability. That new fairing ain't bad to look at either. 2017 Kawasaki Versys X300. Base price, $5,399. Picture a typical adventure bike and the image of a big, beefy, high-riding machine might come to mind. A bike loaded down with hard cases and ready for a dusty journey to remote lands. So why couldn't the successful formula be scaled down to save a few bucks? It can, and Kawasaki has just the machine, and right now it's the only player who does. The new Versys X300 certainly looks the part. It has an upright riding position which helps the rider sit tall and have a great view through the windscreen, so it should be a fine commuter as well as a fun backroad explorer. Now, This is a budget adventure bike, so don't expect serious suspension travel or super knobby tires for heavy-duty off-road excursions. However, the bike's 7.1 inches of ground clearance means it can handle more than the average street bike. Kawasaki Ninja 300 is one of our favorite affordable sports machines, and the Ninja's engine has found a home between the frame rails of the Versys X300. It's just as sweet here. Like larger and pricier adventure class bikes, the Versys X300 can be fitted with a full catalog of accessories from hard bags to lights and even off-road crash bars. The Versys X300 is available in few colors, but the one in our own garage would be painted candy lime green. 2017 BMW G310R. Base price, $5,500. You don't typically think of BMW as cheap bikes, but the new G310R is here to change that. The new bike uses a 313cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder that cranks out 34 horsepower up at 9,500 RPMs. And that's plenty because this little bike weighs just 350 pounds. But the thing that makes the new BMW such a standout in this smaller class of sporty bikes is the high level of craftsmanship with which it's built. This doesn't look or feel like a budget bike, and like the more expensive BMWs, this one is fitted with ABS standard. We are particularly smitten by the bike's style, especially when it's wearing the classic old-school BMW white with red and blue stripes paint scheme. BMW hasn't yet announced pricing, but competitors like Honda's CBR300R and Kawasaki's Ninja 300 come in around $5,000, so don't expect this one to stray too far outside that pricing neighborhood. 2017 Ducati Monster 797. Base price, $9,295. The original Monster made its debut back in the early 1990s as one of the first modern naked sport bikes that ditched aeroplastic for a bare chassis that let the mechanicals shine. The Monster was a hit, but over the past few years the engines have grown in size and the bikes have become more expensive. The new 797, however, packs much of the engineering and prowess of the larger Monsters into a more affordable bike with a smaller engine. The mid-size twin produces 75 horsepower and 50.8 pounds-ft of torque down at 5,750 RPMs. While those aren't big numbers, this is a machine that has plenty of low-end thrust that should help move the 425 pounds wet easily. If canyon riding is part of the weekend plan, then rest assured, because this is a Ducati and there are big Brembo brakes up front and an inverted Kawasaki front fork. Best of all, the 797 looks similar enough to pricier Monsters that few will notice or care that the sweet machine is the less expensive one. 2017 KTM Duke 390. Base price, $5,299. KTM might not be most familiar motorcycle brand to many American shoppers, but the Austrian company makes some of the sportiest and aggressive bikes around, both in terms of design and engineering. These bikes have roots that go deep into off-road racing, where the company has serious expertise building very potent single-cylinder engines. The freshened-up Duke 390 is packing a single-cylinder 44 horsepower thumper of its own. We've always liked the personality of these engines since the Duke 390 weighs just over 300 pounds dry. Without fuel or oil, it sure feels incredibly responsive and easy to ride hard on a twisty road. This bike might be priced for the novice, but it should prove fun to anyone that likes an organic, visceral ride. Enhancements for 2017 include an improved suspension, larger brakes, a taller seat, and some seriously aggressive styling.